Today's topic is ABLLS-R and part 2, A10 to A19. Actually, it's a part 3, but for ABLLS-R, the first part was about the introduction, and the part 2 was ABLLS-R task A1 to A9, and then we are moving towards the next task, and these are A10 to A19. Okay, and if you have not subscribed our channel, you can subscribe it right now. Okay, this is the picture. You can take the screenshot or you can read it by your own self. You can save it for later. Okay, so you have to explore these, and I'm going to explain all of these tasks in detail. And again, I'm going to tell you guys what we have to focus: the task code, what's the scoring, and what's the task name, objective, and then you have to come to the master criteria. Master criteria is one of the most important things. So let's move towards the visual presentation of each task. Okay, so this is the one, A10. Okay, this is the visual task guide. A10. What is A10? Scan items in an array before responding. ठीक है, इसका मतलब ये है कि बच्चा स्कैन करे कोई भी आइटम. ओके, one thing I want to make sure that I will use two languages. First of all, I will explain one thing in Urdu, and then again the same thing will be repeated in English. So please hold it, because there are many international students and many Pakistani students, so I have to balance all of this. So let me tell you first what the scanning means. Scanning means कि बच्चा, अगर आप एक बच्चे से कोई चीज़ डिमांड कर रहे हो, लाइक गिव मी दिस, गिव मी दैट, या इस चीज़ को टच करो, तो द क्लाइंट और द चाइल्ड रैंडमली ना उठा के दे दे आपको ना, मतलब कि बच्चा इधर उधर सराउंडिंग्स में देख रहा है, डिस्ट्रैक्टेड है, कुछ भी है, and you are just giving saying okay, give me the shoe, for example. In this example is written give me the shoe, and the child is looking at all other things. He or she is looking just at you, or maybe the surroundings, the different distractions. He or she is not focusing on the material in front of him. Okay, so you have to teach the kid that how to scan. Okay, you have to just tell them that scanning is more important. You have to look at each and everything that is in front of them. Okay, so that they can answer it in a correct way. If the child doesn't know how to scan, if the child is not scanning, he or she will just randomly give you things. He will not look, and he will not just think about the things. He or she will not use the exacting functioning that what is the demand. Okay, so you have to focus on this, that the child doesn't give things randomly to you. He or she should scan first, and scanning is very important, as many children after 2 to 3 months even in the session, they don't know the scanning. So you have to focus that the scanning is more important. I have to make sure the kid is focusing, kid is scanning. You have to put the your hand on his head, that he or she can look down. Okay, what's the task objective? When an instruction is presented during learning task involving instructional materials, the student attends to the instruction or scans the material before responding. It means before responding, the student has to scan the things. What to do? Place several items or pictures in front of the student, give a specific direction, or observe whether the student scans the array before responding. Okay, one thing else is you have to put the things in different directions. If you have seen the part 2 of ABLLS-R, that's A1 to A9 task, I have told you about the directions, that the child should know the directions. If you give the command of look, touch, each and everything, the child knows that the thing will be available, thing will be presented in different directions. Okay, so you have to also make sure the child can scan in different directions. And what's the scoring, master criteria? And okay, one thing else is that I will read only the master criteria, and you have to read the level 1 and level 2, or level 3 or level 4. All depends on which task are you reading. Okay, some tasks have level 2 as the master criteria, and some tasks have level 4 as the master criteria. Okay, so this task is consistently scans up to 6 task related items within 3 seconds before responding. Okay, one thing else is that's very important is about time duration. I have told you about the 3 second theory, that the child should respond within 3 seconds, or maximum it could be 5 seconds. And if the child is not responding within 3 to 5 seconds, you have to give the prompt so that the child learns that I have to respond as soon as I get the instruction, as soon as I get the SD. Okay, so he doesn't like develop the concept of delaying, escaping each and everything. Okay, so six task related items द चाइल्ड कैन स्कैन, मतलब कि आपने बच्चे के सामने एक चीज़ रखी है, 6 डिफरेंट आइटम है, तो बच्चा उनको स्कैन करके डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन, डिफरेंट पोजीशंस में उनको आपको दे सकता है. ठीक है. एंड आई हैव आल्सो मेंशन अबाउट द इंटर्न स्टेप्स so that all the students, all the new employees, all the new interns, whoever are attending my course can get the tip that what do we have to do. Pause briefly after the instruction so you can see whether the student independently scans first. Okay, one thing I want to teach you guys about the pause brief of the instruction. It's very important concept because I have seen multiple times that whenever the instructor is giving the instruction, they are not waiting even for 5 or 3 seconds. They are just saying, okay, give me, okay, touch, please stop it. Just wait for even 3 to 5 seconds. The child has to absorb your instruction, the child has to process your SD. Okay, so please do understand that at least give the space of 5 or 3 seconds so that the child can process the information and then he or she should respond. And if you see that even after 3 to 5 seconds they are not responding, you have to just give the prompt. Okay, that's the thing. So let's move towards the A11. A11 is responds quickly when given instruction. Okay, again this is all about 3 seconds. The task objective is when engaged in series of learning tasks, the student responds quickly when an instruction is presented. We have to teach the kid that they should respond as soon as they get the instruction. Okay, they should not wait, or they should not get so relaxed that whenever I will want I will respond. No, we have to teach the kid that after 3 seconds they have to respond. What to do? Present a simple instruction during table work and observe whether the student begins responding immediately after hearing it. Okay, because many times the child starts to look in different directions, the child starts to get distracted. So we have to work on this, that the child doesn't get distracted, the child just focus on our commands. For example, when asked to point a picture of a bird, the student immediately begins to reach toward and point to the bird. Okay, so the master criteria is consistently response within 3 seconds when instructions are presented. Okay, level 1 was the time duration was 5 seconds, but level 2 is the master criteria, it is 3 seconds. In terms, tip is use familiar task first, so you are measuring response speed, not confusion. Okay, first of all you have to teach this with a familiar task, the child responds immediately, and then you can move towards some new acquisition task. Okay, this is A12. A12 is variation in reinforcement, and that's non-edible. Okay, bundles of times the thing happens, all the things the parents are sending in the clinic are edible, like biscuits, cookies, M&Ms, bunties, each and everything they do send it. But we have to teach the kid that they can't be dependent on edible things only. Okay, so there should be different things, there should be variation. Okay, there are different reinforcers. It is written here. What to do? Test several non-edible items, actions, social reinforcers, sensory items, activities. Okay, the thing is there are different kind of reinforcers: social reinforcers, edible reinforcers, tangible reinforcers. Okay, what's involved in tangible reinforcers? All the things that can be touched, that can be play with, that we can use, that are physical presented are what are tangible reinforcers, and what are edible, that can be eaten, that can be like drink. So the child enjoys to have rice, or there was a kid whose reinforcer was yogurt. Okay, so the thing is it all varies according to the child. And there are social reinforcers. What are the social reinforcers? In which we are getting engaged with the child. Okay, for example, high five, high 10, peekaboo, tickles, and you are playing, you are singing. with the kid that's involved in the social reinforcer. The next example is actions such as stickers or pickup, visual toys, music, tactile play, claps, praise, prefer toys, puzzles, or computer activities can all serve as reinforcers. And okay, the one thing that's mentioned here is computer activities. In computer activities, we don't prefer much in Pakistan because already children are screen addicted. But when the child is on AAC or like learning the communication, if the speech therapist is using that, we can ask them and then we can use this. Okay. And what's the master criteria? Master criteria is level 2. At least 10 separate instructor controlled items or activities are effective as reinforcers. Okay, so it means the child should have at least 10 different reinforcers. And what's the intern tip? Rotate reinforcers often so motivation stays high. Okay, if you are like in my internship program, I just recently delivered my lecture on reinforcers or like motivating operations, citations, abolishing operations, establishing operations. I have like given the lecture on that. What does it teach? That the child should be given the reinforcer for 30 seconds only, and you should rotate it. Okay, for example, if the child loves the spinning toy, you should not give all the time the spinning toy as a reinforcer. You should change it so that the child can have variation and he or she should not become fixated towards just one reinforcer. And after 1 or 2 days, maybe the child will become satiated with that toy, with that reinforcer, and he or she will demand one new. So you have to arrange 10 to 9 reinforcers. You should have at least one bucket of the reinforcers, and then you can rotate them. And for reinforcement, there is a preference assessment so that you can identify that which reinforcer is like highly preferred by the kid, so that you can use the highly preferred task for the least preferred task. Highly preferred reinforcer should be used for least preferred task. For example, if the child does not like the worksheet, but the spinning toy is one of the most reinforcer, one of the strongest reinforcer for the kid, so you have to use the spinning toy for the worksheet task. Okay, I think you will get my point. If you don't get it, just write in the comment box. I will give you in detail the answer. Okay, there are different like reinforcers: spinning toys, bubbles, music, musical toys, claps, prefer toys, computer tablet activities, puzzles, tickles, peekaboo, all of these things. Okay, so let's move towards the next task, that is A13 and A14. What is in A13? A13 is intermittent tangible reinforcement. Okay, I have told you guys about the tangible reinforcement that can be touched, that can be seen. That's a tangible. Okay, so what does intermittent means? Okay, this is the pictorial presentation in front of you, so that you can get the idea that after certain moment, after certain correct responses, the child gets it. Okay, one thing is, if you have read about the reinforcement schedules, there are like two different, one is continuous and one is intermittent. And for the continuous reinforcement schedule, we give like after every correct response we are giving the reinforcement schedules. What to do? Require several correct responses before delivering a small audible or tangible reinforcer, or observe whether the student keeps working. Okay, example is the student labels picture cards apple, banana, car, tree, and receives a resin after an average of about 4 responses. Intern tip is start with a dense schedule, every 1 to 2 correct responses, and slowly thin it like every 3 to 5, so the student can tolerate delay. Okay, we are actually teaching the kid about the delay concept, that they don't get dependent on the reinforcer like in real life settings. We can't provide the reinforcer every time while traveling, while in restaurants. There are like different locations. For example, in any function, we don't have the reinforcer every time, so we have to teach the kid with a passage of time, not immediately as soon as the child gets starting the session. We have to teach with the passage of time that it can be delayed. Okay, so the master criteria is so there are like 4 levels of the master criteria. Level 1 is 2 maintenance responses. Maintenance is the child knows already these things, so just we are maintaining them. And 4 maintenance responses, the level 2. 3 is 2 acquisition. Acquisition is just new tasks are added, we are working on them. And 3 maintenance, the child knows, the child has mastered those tasks and we are just maintaining them. And the level 4 is engaging in 5 acquisition and 5 new tasks. Okay, so let's move towards the next, A14. A14 is instructor interaction reinforcement. Okay, with the passage of time we do get the target that instead of just focusing on edible or tangible, we should attach the kid towards us, like he or she should be happy when we are around him. Okay, so the instructor interaction reinforcement. Okay, so the child should let me tell you in layman language कि बच्चा जो है वो इस चीज़ का वेट कर रहा हो कि हम थेरेपिस्ट के साथ प्ले करेंगे, हम इंगेज होंगे, हम पोएम सिंग करेंगे, हम पिकअप करेंगे. सो इंस्ट्रक्टर इंस्ट्रक्शन जिसमें इंस्ट्रक्टर का भी इंट्रैक्शन बहुत ज़्यादा इन्वॉल्व हो. ऑब्जेक्टिव इज द स्टूडेंट विल वर्क फॉर रेनफोर्समेंट दैट इन्वॉल्व interaction with the instructor. Okay, for example, when we are just blowing the bubbles, okay, blow bubbles and it's like pop pop. Okay, the child loves the toys, for example cars, helicopters, or they love dinosaurs, so the child is just getting engaged with it. But with the passage of time we have to do the transition towards ourselves, that the child waits for our interaction. Okay, so the thing what happens, what's the like theme behind it, that child whenever will involve with the interaction or with the instructor, he or she will learn the best things from the therapist. She will have more trust, will have more rapport building. Okay, what to do? Present simple tasks and allow the student to earn a fun social activity with the therapist after responding. For example, the student performs tasks to get play, bring around the rosy with the instructor. Use highly enjoyable therapist-style games so social interaction itself becomes rewarding. And the next is scoring criteria, engages in 5 acquisition responses for instructor interaction reinforcement. That's the master criteria, that the child engages in 5 acquisition responses, one after another there, and after the 5 responses the child will have the opportunity to get engaged or to interact with the instructor. Okay, this is the last sheet of the A domain, A15 to A19. Let's move towards that one. What is A15? A15 is looks to instructors changes in facial expressions or voice. Okay, one thing, as you know, the special needs children, specifically autistic children, they don't get engaged with the therapist, they don't love the social interaction, they don't focus on the facial expressions or the change in the voice or all of these things. Okay, so we have to teach these things also to the kid, that there is a specific meaning behind the facial expression. There is like a voice change is indicating something. Okay, so what's the task objective is, after completing a task in series of learning activities, the student will orient to the instructor to observe changes in facial expression and voice that provides feedback after the correctness of response. What to do? Observe whether the student looks towards the therapist after responding to notice facial or vocal feedback. Okay, the same thing is eye contact. Is the child giving the eye contact to the therapist or not? Okay, for example, the child looks to instructor's smiling face and listens to the change in voice inflection while praise is delivered. Master criteria is looks at instructors to seek feedback when finished responding at least 70% of the time. Okay, the intern tip is, I have mentioned earlier also that at the start you have to exaggerate one thing, you have to exaggerate one emotion, so that the child, if you are exaggerating it to 90%, the child will pick only 10%. Okay, so you have to focus on this thing, that at the very start to teach the kid about the emotions, about the change in facial expressions, about the change in voice. There's a certain meaning behind this, so you have to exaggerate everything at the very start. Okay, for example, if the child is saying, okay, touch nose, the child did the touch nose, okay, you say wow, you can say just wow, good job, but at the very start of the sessions you have to, wow, good job, very nice. You can just like exaggerate in more voice. Okay, then you can fade, and at the end you can stay neutral. And the next task is A16, respond to social reinforcers. The same thing is as we did in A14, we are learning in A16, respond to social reinforcers. The child should like respond to different social reinforcers, for example hug, kiss, peekaboo, tickles, and all of these things. Okay, good job, high five, these are like social reinforcers. The same thing, the same mission behind this task is that we can teach the kid about the social things. He can become more socially engaged instead of getting screen addicted or say isolated. So we have to just focus on this. Objective is praise will serve as an effective reinforcer for the student. Example, I have given you guys example in the last A15, same is with this. The scoring criteria is for, works for 15 minutes for only praise. It's like wow, good job. Like the child is doing continuously 15 minutes for the task. And one thing I am repeating again, the child is not gonna work in the first month of sessions for 15 minutes for only praise. No, the child may take 1 year to reach at this level, that the child will work only for praise for 15 minutes. Okay, so you have to notice this, that if you are reading, it's just the first domain. First domain doesn't mean the child will learn all the things from the first domain in first week of the sessions. Okay, intern tip is make praise specific, warm, and immediate, so it becomes meaningful. Okay, next task is A17, waits appropriately if reinforcer is delayed. The same thing is the child should not be dependent on the reinforcer. If it's not delivered immediately, the child should wait appropriately. The child should behave nicely if it's delayed. What to do after a correct response? Briefly delay the reinforcer and observe whether the student waits calmly without the problem behavior. Okay, one thing I want to make it clear to you guys, that I have told multiple times that you should give the reinforcer within 3 seconds of correct response. Okay, but the thing is, in this task our target is this, that we have to delay. You can start it with a 5-second delay, with a 10-second delay, and then 20-second delay, 15, 30, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then at the end it's a 5 minutes. But it will be after 1 year, maybe 6 months, maybe 9 months. Okay, so you have to focus on these things, that we are just working on the appropriate delay. Okay, so the scoring criteria is 5 seconds, 2 is 10 seconds, 3 is 1 minute, and 4 is 5 minutes. The child learn the concept of waiting. And how do we start it? We start the concept of the wait in A8. Okay, A18 is seeks approval for task completion. The student will seek recognition for accomplishments. What to do? Observe whether the student tries to show completed work to the therapist or looks to see if others noticed. For example, after finishing the work, the child asks others to see what was done and looks around to check whether others noticed the accomplishment. Okay, I'm telling you कि जब भी बच्चा ऐसा होता है कभी कभी कि इसका स्टार्ट में ये है कि जब बच्चे ने टास्क किया तो द चाइल्ड इज शोइंग, हम ना बच्चे को सिखा रहे होते हैं कि दूसरों को दिखाओ और दूसरे थेरेपिस्ट को बोलते रहते हैं कि इसकी ना तारीफ़ करो थोड़ी सी साथ, ताकि इसको आइडिया हो कि मैंने चीज़ एक अच्छी बनाई है और उसको एक रेनफोर्सर भी मिल जाए. तो ये है लेवल 1 के दूसरों की तरफ देखता है कि क्या उन्होंने नोटिस किया है कि आई हैव डन समथिंग. But in level 2, the thing is the child is asking, the child is like saying, okay, wow, look what I have finished, is it looking good or not? The child is asking, Okay, like from looking to see, the child has moved towards the asking. The child is seeking approval, that is it good or not, should it be improved or not. Okay, in turn tape is respond warmly when the child shares completed work, so social recognition becomes valuable. Okay, again is task 19. Task completion serves as reinforcer. Okay, this is the last task. Finally we are going to learn, that's A19. Task completion serve as reinforcer. Completion of a task serve as an effective reinforcer for students. Okay, this domain was all about the reinforcement effectiveness, and at the end, what was the task that what is becoming the reinforcer? We are moving from the social reinforcer, from audible reinforcer, from tangible reinforcers to the task itself being a reinforcer. Okay, so the thing is, the child has to work independently for 10 minutes to complete a task for recognition of task completion. Okay, so you have to understand this, that कि बच्चा आहिस्ता आहिस्ता खुद ही चीज़ डेवलप करे, डैट कि जब मैं टास्क कंप्लीट करूँगा तो यही एक बहुत बड़ी अच्छी चीज़ है, दैट अदर्स विल बी हैप्पी दैट आई हैव डन समथिंग. Okay, the child completes a puzzle or worksheet and is motivated by the satisfaction of finishing with only praise or recognition. What to do? Observe whether the student will continue working independently because finishing the task itself is rewarding, and how will it develop. As soon as the child finishes a task and you say wow, good job, and you may give a token. Okay, and with the passage of time, the child learns that whenever the task is completed, it is something to be reinforced, it is something to be motivated, it is something to be happy that I have ended something. Okay, so the intern tape is usually clear start and finish tasks, so the student can express the reward of completion. And as the scoring criteria is, level 1 is for 5 minutes and level 2 is the child is doing continuously task for 10 minutes, and then he or she will be happy that wow, I have done a task, I did it. Okay, so thank you for watching. Subscribe, like and share, and you can ask me any question in the comment box. Until the next video, Allah Hafiz.